vessels in dry dock. We've got about 10 days to do our annual maintenance, which means a lot of painting for me, sorting out all the stripes and particularly sorting out the gunnel, which is in a mess. But today is Sunday and we don't really want to make a lot of noise, so while we wait, we're getting on with a horrible job, and this is it. We're taking out our old fire and getting it ready to sell, and I've got to give it a coat of paint, but we had a leak and we've just got to get rid of the rust on top before we can paint it. It's a bit of a scrapey job, one of those ones that you have to do whether you want to or not, but it's not much fun, is it, H?
No, not really.
So we're in a very basic dry dock, but it does what we need it to do, which is keep us out of the rain, which is never ending at the moment. And I'm going to have a walk around and see what needs doing, but it's this sort of thing. Lots of that all the way around, and H is going to be putting cleats on this week so that we can put some rope around there and help to protect it a bit. There we go, Monday morning, and I'm raring to go. It's about 7:30, so I'm a bit unsure about starting the sander just yet. I don't want to be waking everyone up with the dulcet tones of that going. So just having a check and see. My job for today is to attend to all of these bits here, all the bashes and scrapes, sand them back to bare metal. Once I've done the gunnel, and most of it is at the front and back where it gets hit, I'm then going to go around the boat, and some of it's quite small. I'm not even sure why that's happened there, but boat scraping against you in the locks, that sort of thing. Anyway, once the gunnel is all sanded, then I'll go over the rest of the boat and get all of that sanded back. And if I can get that all done quick enough today, I might be able to get the first coat of primer on, which would be good. We're having to pump the water out from the dock behind us because it's up again over the weekend. And there was a lot of rain yesterday, and it's all still in flood down there, so it's just as well we've got this to do, because at the moment we wouldn't be going anywhere. So here we go. So my kit are these gloves which stop my hands from getting all tingly and sore, hand sander, and I always use these Abranet discs. You can shake them out, you can wash them, and they last for ages and they work really well. I did the whole boat with these when I originally painted it, and I haven't found anything better. I want a nice grunty one to start this morning. Day 2, and we got quite a lot done yesterday. I got all the gunnels sanded down, first coat of primer on them, and I've investigated most of the rest of the boat, so I know what I need to do today. A little bit more sanding here and there, but actually there's not as much damage as I thought, so this should be done in a timely manner. One coat of primer on all the damage down there and around there, and I shall give that a light sand today and put another coat on. I'll put 3 coats on altogether, and I mix it with Oatrol, which is a rust inhibitor and makes the paint flow more smoothly, so I think that's quite a good thing to use. I'm getting there. When you paint a boat from scratch, there's a rhythm that you follow. You have 3 coats of primer, you sand in between each one, 3 coats of undercoat, sand with a different grade sand, and then onto the top coat and a very fine sandpaper. But when you're patching up, you have to do it more instinctively. You know, sometimes it goes right back to the metal, sometimes you're just sanding a bit on top. So it actually takes longer than you think, because you're having to go around and make sure you don't have any lumps and bumps and try to keep the whole thing looking smooth. Morning, day 4. Completely missed out day 3 because it turned out to be really busy, but I got all the primering finished yesterday, so 3 coats of primer. We had an engine service yesterday as well, so I couldn't get on with the stern, and we managed to get our old stove off the boat. We sold it to the chandlery here, and they'll sell it on later in the year. I had to take a huge price drop on it, but it was for convenience really, because it's not really the right time of year to be selling a wood burning stove. Anyway, it's gone, we've got the space back, and we've also got to completely redo our hearth, but we had a bit of luck with that. Anyway, today I'm going to be sanding back all the primer, make it nice and smooth with a medium Abranet of 180, and then I can put the first undercoat on, and I'll probably put 2 coats of that on, one today, one tomorrow, and then I can start doing the top coat. And I've had to do a lot of washing down of the boat, because just behind us is a little boat that's been blacked, and although it was all covered with polythene, there was a lot of sticky dust coming off it, and from a previous boat I think, which sort of settled all over our boat. So 57 foot is a long boat to wash. It takes ages. I'm sure if any of you have got one and you've done it, it just seems to take forever to wash the boat down, especially if you're doing the roof as well. Anyway, we're getting there and I'm enjoying the process.
Right, one now.
Okay. Thank you. We've just come back from Tops Tiles in Long Eaton, and we were looking for some tiles to go around our new stove and getting all sorts of tile samples, and they're really expensive and they're fiddly. And then we found these great big lumps of slaty tile, 40% off, and by coincidence the length or the width happens to be exactly 600, which is what our hearth is. So we've got 2 of these to go up with a border on the side and on the back, 40% off, and with all the grout and cement it came to £67, absolutely made up. Be a really easy job as well, because we've literally got to stick 6 tiles up. So that was a bit of a wobbly cycle back from Long Eaton with those in our panniers, but we've got them all here in one piece. Really happy. So while I'm painting away, H is preparing other stuff. What are you up to?
I'm making some loops to go through the big rope so that I can attach them to the back of the boat. I've already put some cleats on there, all the way around the boat in fact. So this will act as a buffer, hopefully, to stop people smashing into us quite so much.
Yeah, that would be good, wouldn't it?
So yes, I'm just doing some fancy rope work at the moment.
Somebody said he looked like an old Grimsby fisherman sitting there. Okay, day 6, and my job today is to rub down, I'm just going to do it by hand actually, all the undercoats that I've done, and then I'm going to sand the whole of the gunnels with a 180 or maybe 240 Abranet, I'm not sure, because it's Sunday tomorrow and I don't want to be making any noise, and I'll be able to get the first coat of gloss on top of the undercoat today, and then hopefully a second coat tomorrow. Henry's up here making some noise. Been putting little cleats all over the place down the sides so that we don't have to have our fenders hanging off the roof and rubbing the top of the boat. Anything to avoid touching up the paintwork more. And there was a lot of rubbing at the front of the boat, so some more cleats here. And we're also getting inner tube, which we slide over our rope to help that not to rub the boat as well. So is that the last cleat now?
Just got to tap out that hole over there now.
Okay.
And then that's then done.
Excellent. Good, good.
That's pretty well all of it, except I might put a couple on the back to hold the ends of the thick rope as it comes around.
Oh yeah. And then on Monday morning we have a chap called Liam who is coming to cut us a steel plate and fix it to the top of the boat there, because we are getting rid of the chimney. We don't need a flue now, we've got a bioethanol, so that'll be nice. Just have to give that a lick of paint. He's going to primer it all for us, so I just have to put the undercoat and top coat on. Luckily I've got plenty of roof paint. So onwards. Inside we're now trying to dismantle part of the hearth, and I used sticks like shit to put the tiles on, and it has. We're really struggling to get them off, so that's a top tip if you want to get your tiles on forever. Use that stuff because it does what it says on the tube. And on the chimney bits we've got a bit of wood cut, and that's going to be finished off, painted and decorated. I'm hoping my friend Jane is going to come and paint some lovely leaves on it. Ooh, tile broken. And then we're going to put a hook in the middle and I can have a nice plant hanging from there. We decided to make a feature of it rather than try and hide the big hole, because that we'd be on a hiding to nothing doing that. I'm finally on the last coat of gloss, and it's day 7, and I was going to see if I could get away with just putting 1 on, but 2 is better. So I'm working like fury now, because we've only got, well, including today, there's only 3 days, and I've got loads of bits to do up on the stern, and some bits have still only got primer on, so they need undercoat and top coat yet. It's a very fiddly job, but we're cracking on. We've got loads done, and just got to keep going. I'm on to the bit I like now, taking off the masking tape. I finished this about 2 hours ago, so it's still tacky, but I think it's the best time to take the masking tape off. These bits are tricky because I've had to mask the name off because I can't paint around the name, not closely. And so of course they're now left in sort of paler green boxes because the paint always fades. But at least if it's masked off, it looks purposeful rather than random. I'm quite pleased with the way it's gone. There's a couple more days of fiddling around doing bits and pieces, but the gunnel is finished, and that was the biggest job. And I've done some patching up on the roof, which I wasn't going to do, but I did. I've talked about this before, I use Craftmaster Raddle paint, and it's just not a paint designed for longevity. It just bubbles up, and I'm always having to touch it up, so I've done that again. Peace of mind. Finally, on the last day, we also managed to clear the hearth. We had to cut through the fireboard there and down there. So we've got a boat that is completely full of white dust and unscheduled spring clean as well. But the 2 extra tiles fit nicely into the space underneath. We just had enough floorboard, just had to trim a bit off the bamboo there. All we've got to do now is redo the hearth, put the tiles up. But we can do that on the move, so oh yeah, bit of tidying up there as well. But yeah, I'm really pleased with that. That was a job I didn't expect to get done as well. Here we are on the top of the boat, and I'm just doing the very last bit of painting that I need to do. We're just rushing off for the train to go back to Brighton for the Easter weekend. But this is the steel plate that was put on the other day, and I've just had time to get a couple of coats of primer and a couple of coats of undercoat on it, so that if it rains, it always rains, but if it rains this weekend, it doesn't matter. So yeah, it's been a really physically hard couple of weeks, I have to say, running around painting the boat and getting the hearth done, and my back will look forward to the rest and a bath later on. So that's it for this video. Next video will actually be moving, I hope, because the floodgates shut again yesterday, but we've had a couple of sunny days and I'm hoping that water levels will finally start dropping. We'll see. Anyway, see you on the next video. Bye for now.